So hello, everybody. And once again, welcome to a very, very special webinar with myself, Misbah, for those of you who don't know me, and the founder of Wakelet, Jamil, who's also joining us today. So we decided to put this webinar together. And like I said before, it's going to be very free-flowing and very chilled out, but we decided to put this webinar together to share some of the really cool, innovative, unusual sometimes, and very powerful ways that Wakelet is being used, because we're always surprised. And at the same time, we're going to be sharing some really cool tips to help you make your Wakelet collections super engaging. So hopefully by the end of this session, you'll come away with a new outlook on what Wakelet can do inside and outside of the classroom, some new ideas, and a few little tricks and tweaks that you can use to make your collections even more engaging. So we'll be showing you all some of the collections that we've discovered at Wakelet that really excite us and inspire us, and we're going to tell you why we think they're so impactful. So get your popcorn ready for that segment. But first, we're going to hear from Jam and get a quick recap as to why we built Wakelet in the first place. And if anyone knows Jam, they know he's a real perfectionist down to the very last pixel. You should try and run something past Jam. If you've got anything wrong or amiss, he's gonna find it. So he's the perfect person to share some really, really cool tips and tricks on how to enhance your collections and make them look really, really beautiful. So what do you think, Jam? Are we ready to kick off?
Let's go. Let's go. So thanks, Misbah, and it's nice to meet you all. Thank you for joining today. Okay, so I think we'll do a quick little recap on why we joined Wakelet or created Wakelet for the people who've not seen this before. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Can I just take over, Misbah?
Yeah, of course. I always forget to do that. I'm going to click there. That should work now. That should work for you, Jam.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, so initially when I created Wakelet, we were basically searching for things on the internet. So for example, in my previous job, I was just looking for links. And the issue is that there's lots of links when you do search queries. And every time I found the articles or the videos or the blogs that I wanted to keep, I had to store them somewhere. So I stored all the different links in a Word document, just very simply. And I also saved the images that I wanted to save. And I was trying to find a way of sharing these basically with people. And it was quite difficult. I used to send this by email, and people used to get annoyed when the emails were too big or when they wouldn't even send to them. So that's kind of the idea. Wakelet allows people to take any links, any pictures, and anything on the internet, and basically just convert it nicely into beautiful looking collections like this. So very simple, very visual collections. So that Word document that you've seen transforms into basically these collections. And to give you an idea, this is a collection. Think of it like a folder, but a pretty folder. And inside the folder on a computer, you can add files. In this case, the files in Wakelet are the different links. So you can add articles, videos, blogs, tweets, Instagram posts. You can record video. You can add images. You can upload PDF. You can add text. And then you can make these little folders or collections beautiful. So you can put background images, cover images, titles, descriptions. And we've done a whole host of stuff that you'll see as we progress with this story. So that's kind of the reason why we created Wakelet. We wanted to enable people to take any content, whether you're an educator, a business, a traveler, things for personal use, and arrange and share that information and collaborate with people around it. Now, a lot of the things that I personally use Wakelet for is private use as well. So I do something like home DIY, or if I'm going to plan a trip at the beginning, I like to create private collections at the beginning, and I might make some of these public after. And sometimes I'll collaborate with people along the journey. Okay.
And it just looks so much nicer when you show the comparison.
Yeah, I mean, before we go into kind of like what you've seen here, I think it'll be a little bit fun to show you. We've always cared about design, and what you're seeing today is not what we're going to end up with. I mean, we're always refining this. We've got a lot of cool ideas and cool plans in terms of making Wakelet even more easier, even more beautiful, even more simpler in the coming weeks and months. And you'll see these improvements coming through all the time. But let's have a little bit of a laugh. So
this is my, I'm loving this. This is my favorite part. Okay. It still makes me laugh.
So on Wakelet, you've got your account. You can have bookmarks. So the fundamental basic element of Wakelet is just the ability to find content on the internet and just bookmark it. So sometimes I'm finding an article in the morning I'm reading and I want to save it to read later or save it to organize later. I'll just throw it in my bookmarks. So you can see here, I've got about 3,800 bookmarks. 1,000 of them are not basically organized yet. I don't organize everything all the time. And these are my collections. So these are all the collections. Now, already this has been set up to kind of show you how to make collections beautiful. You can see one of my collections doesn't have a cover image. So already my OCD part of me is irritating me, and I'm thinking I need to add a cover image. I need to add a cover image to make it look cool. But before I go there, let's have a look at exactly what I showed you before, maybe about 3 years ago when we were trying to figure out Wakelet at the beginning. So here's some old Wakelet screens. No one's seen these before, so it's the first time anyone's ever seen them.
Exclusive scoop on what Wakelet used to look like.
So Wakelet's always been visual, but this is like a left to right view. We first thought of Wakelet as navigation left and right rather than up and down. And here you can see collections. So then we had something called editor's picks, the latest collections and what's trending. And you can just scroll through basically to find the content that you like. And this was what a profile looked like. A little bit different than what I've shown you before, but my profile looked like this. So I've got a panel on the left-hand side, a picture of me, how many collections. We used to call them wakes, like the wakes of boats or planes. But I think because it was new terminology at the beginning, we decided to just stick with something a bit more simpler for now, and we'll see how things go later on. And also just a little bit of a description about me. Now, the key thing about doing descriptions and little images and little things, it just makes things look nicer. It makes it a little bit more engaging for people when they land on a profile and they want to discover the content or discover the person. But these were the collections. And again, you can go left and right to kind of navigate through the collections. And this was the bookmarks area. So we called it links, but basically these are all the different items that I'd saved in collections or not in collections. At that stage, it was kind of like still a little bit basic. We didn't have any filtering systems. And these were a few of the collections themselves. They looked a little bit different. So the cover image that you see on top with the image and the description was on the left-hand side. And then all the different links inside the collections, you went through them again left and right. But conceptually, it's still the same thing. It's allowing people to kind of structure beautiful content and make things look visual. So even though the design looks different, even though the functionality is quite different, you can still see it still looks pretty nice to look at, and it's pleasing to the eye. And that's what we've tried to keep with Wakelet, and we'll try to keep improving this as we go along.
I think we've got some people in the chat who are excited, thinking this is a mock-up for a new version, Jam. just to clarify, this is the old version of Wakelet, so we're very flattered that you think it's awesome.
Yeah, don't worry, we're going to make the versions going forward even more beautiful. We're already thinking about all these ideas. So just to start in terms of creating engaging collections, a lot of people today are quite visual. They like to spend a few seconds on things to decide if they want to read it, if they want to engage with it. So I think it's nice if you can personalize things and make them look special. And yes, it takes 5 minutes more, or in some instances, it might take 2 hours more, like I do in certain areas. But sometimes it's really worth it, and it's so much more fun and more engaging. So let me give you a quick little demo. This was a collection that I've basically put together when me and Marcus went to Dubai. So I had a video that we created, me and Marcus together, one of our friends, and then we had some photographs. So you can see here, I've just thrown them all together in Wakelet, and it's quite nice. The pictures are there, the video of the trip's there, and I can scroll all the way through these different images. And I've added quite a lot of them, so I'll just scroll through them a little bit faster.
Almost just like an image gallery, isn't it, John?
Yeah, in this case, that's all this use case was. I wanted to kind of document the trip. And I've added some mixed media, so you can see some stuff here from basically Instagram, a few little things that we've posted. And at the end of it all, I thought, what if people wanted to understand what Dubai was and where it evolved from? So I found a documentary on YouTube, and I left that at the end. Then I thought to myself, actually, I can make this so much more fun by putting a little bit more energy into it. And people who've not traveled to Dubai might want to understand little things like, what's the weather like? What's the currency exchange rate like? What did you do? Where did you stay? So that's kind of like when I decided to put a little bit more effort in and kind of do this. So all I've done here really is I've made a few additions that seem like a lot of work, but it's quite simple. So I've literally added background images. So background images are optional. You can either upload your own image, you can choose from the library. And there are some nice pictures if you don't want to basically upload your own. You can find, sorry. So you can see pictures here very easily that you can add very simply.
And that's with the, we didn't have the plugin to begin with, did we, Jam? We wanted to like encourage people to make it really easy to create a beautiful looking collection. I love Unsplash.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the request came from users. They were saying to us, look, can we make things simpler? Can we add galleries in place that you can select things from? And we've got a lot more plans in place that people have asked for. So keep looking out. We're going to be adding some more integrations for adding more images, for GIFs, for all sorts of stuff. But the other thing that we got asked for is that this is a large size image. Some people would like a smaller image. So you can have a smaller image. And also, some people want to upload an image, but not necessarily see the image inside the collection, but maybe just see it on the outside, so their profile doesn't have an empty space. And in this case, you can just hide the cover image. So it's still there. So when I go outside my collection, it's still there, but it's not inside my collection, which is quite nice. So then I decided to add the description, and emojis are cool little things. So it just brings a little bit of fun, a little bit of life to the collection. And that's what you can see here. And then I started to add descriptions and notes. And in between these notes, I've kind of added a few different URLs. I didn't necessarily want these URLs to scrape because they're not part of my story. So I just added them as a note rather than just linking it into Wakelet and then bringing it up with a little embedded view. And I've done the same all the way through. And then I've decided to kind of research online and see what the temperature's like in Dubai that time of year. So if people were looking to go to Dubai, they've got more information on that time of year rather than just what I did to get, me and Marcus when we went. And then I decided to kind of like talk about the best ways to get to Dubai and kind of ticket prices, cost of basically currency exchange rates, what types of hotels there are, where I booked my hotel from. And to cut the long story short, I kind of even went into the exchange rate at that time. So it's kind of given a lot more context to make something which is quite simple, a bit more engaging. And again, I've added some maps. You can see I've just dropped in the URL from Google Maps. And now it's nice. I can see the location. I can see what else is around in this area. And in this case here, you can either, if you want, like add little notes to items. So you can either add this as a credit, or you can actually write a whole host of text just here if you wanted to as well. So there's a lot of options of customization in Wakelet. It's just sometimes not very visible at the beginning. Okay, and just one more little point here. So you remember the little video that I added before? I didn't like the picture on the video and I scraped the YouTube video. So there was a couple of options. I can either watch the video and basically take a screenshot of my favorite point. I've done that a number of times so I can get a nice image, or I've also customized the YouTube video. So rather than taking the scrape that was there, I've removed the description and I've turned this into my own little basically narrative so people can kind of understand why I've added this in here. And this is just an image that I've uploaded myself. So it's quite nice to customize things, make them simple. And that's what we've tried to do with Wakelet. We've tried to give you the full flexibility you want to make these quite easy and quite simple and quite visual and quite beautiful.
And it's like the one thing that I like about being able to edit links as well is rather than it just becoming a link dump in a way where you're just copying and pasting links, you can add context to it. So I remember I think it was in a webinar that we did yesterday or something, I was explaining to one of the educators on that if you were to put a YouTube video in, but you wanted the class to look at that YouTube video in a certain way, or you wanted to offer them some instruction, then being able to change the description and the title makes it really powerful, because rather than the video saying like BBC report 1, you can edit that and say, watch this first, or, you know, assignment 1, just to add some more context. So I personally love that feature.
Yeah, and just to show you a different collection, I've done the same, but in a different layout. So me and a couple of the guys in the team, when they first kind of started here, we decided to basically go for a walk. And rather than just adding out pictures, I thought I'd make it a bit more fun. So if people wanted to see this place, I found a cool video on YouTube. I've added the video. I've put some stuff from TripAdvisor. And then I've added the pictures in this kind of layout with a few little notes all the way across. And then I thought I'll throw in a map as well, just to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more meaningful. And it's just nice and exciting when people land in these areas, they can see what's going on in the trip and what you've been doing.
We went there yesterday as well, didn't we, for a lovely, beautiful walk. Is there anything else, Jam, before we jump into examples?
Yeah, maybe I'll just go through a little different type of use case. This is my weekly kind of like go-to area. Again, it's when sometimes you add links from Google Drive, again, it doesn't always scrape a description or a title or images. And I'm very visual, so I want to see stuff. So I'll have the ability just to simply make little edits. So here I can just go again. I can edit the titles. I can edit the descriptions. I can change the images again. I think it's just nice and simple, make something look more engaging, more beautiful, so you can kind of understand and collaborate and share and engage more when you do these little things. And that's how I kind of track my week-to-week stuff with the team. This is what I go to every single week, because I find it a little bit more difficult when things are not as visual to kind of like find things easier.
I think that's something that we've always tried to do, isn't it, John? Like kind of enable people to create visual things, because when you look at what the alternative is, which would be like a long list of URLs, it's like, why not just make them embeddable and make them, you know, kind of stand out more, but at the same time make them more engaging, because people like looking at colorful things. People like looking at having a background image in the background and a cover image and that type of thing. So we've kind of built features in to allow people to do that, which I think the response to it's been really good.
Yeah, and I think the key thing for us is Wakelet can be used in so many different ways, and you'll see a few of those ways as we progress in the webinar. But I think it's because we've made it that flexible and that ability to personalize it how you want, and that's what we want to keep doing as we progress. We've got a lot of cool, neat ideas that are coming up. You're gonna enjoy them. I'm kind of excited, and I can't wait for them to come out. The team are always listening to the feedback, and we'll keep enhancing. So please keep telling us if things aren't right. Keep telling us if you want new enhancements or new improvements. We are listening to you. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer for a few things. It's just because we've got so many things going on, but we are listening to everyone. We want to keep improving the platform.
Exactly. I wanted to show one thing which I think a lot of people tend to miss, but which I think is really, really cool. So what we wanted to do with Wakelet is allow you to kind of bring your collections to life as much as possible, and turn, like what Jam just did then, where he turned like a photo gallery that could have just been a static photo gallery essentially into like a travel guide or like a travel plan, and actually really easily, just by adding your own notes and content and kind of making use of some of the features that we have. And one of the awesome things, which I just want to kind of touch on very quickly, is the Flipgrid integration that we have. When it comes to contextualizing the collection that you've got, it doesn't matter if it's a birthday collection or if it's someone, a message to your friends, your colleagues or co-workers, or if it's instruction for your students and your learning communities. Being able to actually share your voice and like record yourself speaking really does wonders. It really improves the engagement of collections, and we found that educators that include video, elements of video in their collections, whether it's a YouTube video or a Flipgrid video, the engagement just skyrockets, because it's like having somebody there in the room speaking to you. So I'm going to share my screen, and just for anybody who's actually missed it, I'm going to quickly share what is one of my favorite integrations, which is the Flipgrid integration. And in doing so, I'm also going to get to show you something really cool as well, which is our, let's take a look, our Wakelet at Home profile. So I'm not sure if, I think some of you have probably seen this. I think we did it on one webinar. We showed it off, Jam. But what we did is during the lockdown, we wanted to, well, Jam, why don't you tell us, and then I'll jump into the Flipgrid integration, because I love this and I'll just go along.
Yeah, so basically when we were all locked down like everyone else was, we're kind of a close team, and people were starting to miss each other and just see what people are doing. So we decided to set up a Wakelet page rather than the collection. So the idea of pages were, from time to time, in the beginning we started it a little bit more frequent, but then we got caught up with Community Week and a lot of other stuff that we've been working on and all the features we're working on. And the idea here was that people from the team, when they're free, would post little things of what they're doing at home, whether it's work related or ideally non-work related, just so we can kind of like see each other again and see what people are doing. So this is the idea here. We just created a collection which Misbah would post out internally, and then we'll upload stuff. and other members of the team can just quickly have a look and see cool little things. It was quite
Yeah,
nice, wasn't it, Misbah? It was nice to see
yeah,
how their families working, people planting or cooking things, James
it
and his
really,
lovely dog.
yeah,
So
it really made a difference. It really made a difference to it, and it was a wonderful idea, I think, to do it because it was just a nice little slice of life. You know what I mean? And when we're in lockdown, I know that a lot of people around the world still are. It's normal, I think, to get a little bit lonely, a little bit cynical about things. You know, you're not seeing your colleagues who become like your family, really. And putting this profile together and doing this was really easy. I mean, well, it was easy. It was like I just create a collaboration collection and then share that link with everybody, and everybody would just click on it, and it doesn't matter what they're doing. They just post pictures of their pets and some food that they were cooking, barbecues that they were having, and it just made us all, you know, it made us laugh a lot of the times. But here's, like, again, this is a really cool little Flipgrid video that James did with his puppy. What's his name again?
Max.
Max, yeah, his little puppy Max, who we got to saw yesterday as well. And just memes and things like that. And it was just an amazing way to keep the team really connected. This is Jam. Jam dropped off one of the newest guys on our team, Carl, his new laptop. So he was super excited about that. And look, at the end of the day, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, we can visit this collection again, and we at least can remember lockdown as being, you know, unusual, sure, but that we didn't lose that nice connection that we've got with our colleagues. But yeah, I absolutely love this, and I'd encourage you as well. You can do this with your team at school. You can do this with your classes. It's really easy. I would literally just share a collaboration link with the team, and then they would click on it. They didn't even have to be logged in. So they would just click on it, and then they could just upload pictures and videos and things like that. But whilst we're on it, I wanted to show you what it looks like to add a Flipgrid video. So I'm probably not going to be able to do it because my camera's on right now. But if you just go to a collection and click edit, as you'll see, and a lot of you who've been joining our webinars recently have probably know the drill by now. You click the little plus button here. This is where you add all the content in Wakelet. You got a copy and paste link, YouTube and that. And then at the end here, you'll have the Flipgrid logo. When you click this, you'll then be prompted to sign into your Flipgrid account. They'll send you a verification email. And then you can just go ahead and record a video directly into the platform. And it's amazing because it's the exact Flipgrid camera. It's 10 minutes of video. You can add all the cool effects and everything, screen recording as well, which is amazing. So I'd really recommend it. I can't see the chat right now, but I'm sure there are some people probably talking about how cool it is having that camera in. Are there any other little features, John, before we jump? Because I'm loving this. Are there any other features that we can jump into before we talk about some of the examples, or should we?
I think let's jump into the examples, Misbah, and then we can come back to a few little tips in between.
Just as you said that.
There's a few little questions that have popped out. Someone's asking, why is it called Wakelet from home?
Oh, right. Well, because we were at home, we weren't in the office. So, you know, it's Wakelet at home. The team was at home. So we decided that would be the best one. We didn't want to call it Wakelet quarantine or Wakelet lockdown or something like that. So, you know, Wakelet at home. And you know what, even after this lockdown finishes, we will probably still use this to kind of keep in touch with each other and put some weird, wacky things that we're doing. Just before you said that, Jam, and I remember, guys, at the beginning of this webinar, I said it was going to be freestyle. So there's going to be quite a little bit of jumping. But just before you said that, John, when I was talking about the features, layouts, right? So layouts are a big one. Layouts are really fundamentally change the way that your Wakelet collection looks. And you can choose a different layout depending on what type of message you want to get across, what type of content you're sharing. And layouts are a really powerful way of doing this. So to do this, whilst you're in edit collection mode, just click the very obvious button, change layout. And we've got 4 different layouts that you've got. Media view, which is probably the most visual, and it will you'll be able to take a look at YouTube videos as they should play, and play Spotify playlists and things like that. Very visually engaging and really, really good for storytelling as well. I'm in media view right now, so as you can see, everything's quite linear. Which is good when you're telling a story and having some structure. Then you've got compact view. Now, compact view is not the most visual, but it's really good if you're trying to get like lots of links into one. So let's say you say to your colleague or your student, I'm going to send you like 20 links that are going to help you with your PD. This is a really cool way to do it because the links are just kind of items, like small items like that. So it's very neat and tidy. Exactly, yes, exactly. Or a list. Lists, it's really cool for lists as well. And then you've got grid view. Now, grid view is really good because it basically is in rows of two, blocks of two. And it's good because you can compare items to each other. So we've got a lot of educators using it to have a piece of content on one side, and then the description about that content on the right side, or before and after, those types of things. So anything that you want to make a comparison to, this is a really cool layout to do. And then lastly, we've got the super popular mood board view, which is all about visually engaging, visually stimulating. Probably really good for some of the younger students, I think, just because it's non-linear. And it's also a real dream to just kind of be able to move things about and customize things as you want. Really love it. But yeah, very, very visual. Doesn't really matter that much about the structure. Just think of it as like a blast of kind of awesomeness without worrying too much about where things go. So yeah, layout, the media view is a really cool layout as well. John, what do you think of my new trainers? These are mine now. I've got these. What do you think of them?
I think you're still back in your basketball days, it looks like.
That's exactly what it is. I'm trying to relive my old moments by playing some basketball trainers.
I think it was after watching that Jordan documentary probably that you bought them.
It was 100% that, yeah, 100%, 100%. So what we'll do now is we'll jump into some examples, which we've picked them, and trust me, there are like hundreds of awesome examples that we could have picked, but we've tried to pick ones which we think are either using a particular feature of Wakelet in a really cool way, or just conceptually they're really cool, like ways that we wouldn't have thought Wakelet would have been used. So let's take a look.
Sorry,
I know. Sorry, go on, Jam.
I'm going to grab a few more questions quickly before we dive in.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, so a few people have been asking about Arabic in Immersive Reader. So I think Immersive Reader does have Arabic already. I think if I'm correct, it's probably Saudi and Egyptian, so it should be there already. If there's anything else you want specifically, just let us know and we'll kind of relay that to Microsoft. So we're working with them with the Immersive Reader functionality. I think Sabrina asked about fonts. Yep, it's something we're going to look into. So of course, we're going to keep adding as much functionality as we can in the text editor spaces. And we've got a few little cool surprises coming up, so stay tuned there. Okay, that's fine, Misbah.
Yeah, awesome. We've also got someone mentioning swag, which happens in every single webinar. Listen, if you want swag, join the Wakelet community. That's going to set you on the journey to get swag. Community.wakelet.com, join that. And yeah, you're in for a really good ride. And that's probably your best way to get swag outside of being in a competition. So that's all I'm saying about that. Okay, so let's jump into some examples then. So I know we are blessed today to have the subject of the next collection with us in the chat, which I didn't know was going to happen. And now I'm quite shy to say this, Mariah, but congratulations to Dr. Mariah Rackley for getting her doctorate, her PhD, a tremendous accomplishment. We're really, really happy for you. You were kind enough to share with me this collection that your colleagues and your friends put together. And I know that we shared it on Twitter earlier this week. Love this collection so much because it's all about celebration. If there's anything that we need right now, it's celebration and good vibes, right? So when I take a look at this collection, this was done by one of Mariah Rackley's colleagues, and they shared a collaboration code or a collaboration link with everybody in Mariah Rackley's orbit. And look how awesome this is. They've all been able to add cool messages of congratulations, support, well wishes, memes, little memories that they've had with Mariah. And then they sent Mariah this almost as like a really meaningful gift and a gesture, just to say congratulations for what you've done. And we say congratulations as well, Mariah, because I don't know how you do it. Like, yeah, a real superhero when it comes to productivity. But I love this collection so much because first of all, it's in a really, really fun layout, which is mood board. And secondly, it's really taken advantage of collaboration because all it takes is just a few minutes to just type a message out or add a meme or add a video or anything. I know that some people recorded YouTube Flipgrid videos as well. All it takes is a few moments. And look, Mariah, I can only imagine how happy you were and how proud you were to scroll down this collection and see all these messages from your colleagues and well-wishers. So yeah, look, if somebody on your team, or if it's a student's birthday, or if it's a yearbook or a graduation or anything like that, send a collaboration link to whoever it is in the group, and yeah, have them send their messages and well wishes and things like that. So I really, really love that.
And Misbah, I think that's going to be turbocharged, right? Very soon.
Oh, yeah.
So when we bring in reactions and comments, it's going to make that collaboration even more fun. So keep your eyes peeled. I mean, we're looking forward to that. Our Wakelet from Home page before could have been a lot nicer if we had reactions and comments. So we're really looking forward to kind of bringing this to you soon.
Yeah, we were discussing as a team that when we saw like cool, like when I saw the video of James's dog, instinctively I'm about to like go and try and react with an emoji. So we thought, and we were like, look, let's try and do that. So yeah, you've definitely set Twitter on fire by saying that, Jam. That's something that people really, really want to hear. Okay, so next up is one of our former colleagues, actually, Philip Schuler. Phil's amazing, right, Jam? Like, fantastic guy.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my good friends. Very nice guy, Phil.
Yeah, Phil's fantastic. He's a really interesting character because he's very, very passionate and committed. And he was doing a live webinar actually I think it was last month, about food waste and sustainability. And it's just been amazing to see his journey start from Wakelet. And really, Wakelet was quite important to him because it allowed him to collect all the stuff that was really important to him and the activism that he was doing in one place. And the reason why I'm showing you Phil's profile here is to show you how beautiful it is when you add sections to your profile, okay? So Phil is one of those like really, how would you call them? Like happy wanderer type characters, you know, traveled everywhere in the world, really passionate about photography and things, loves music. And we love his profile because he's been able to split it up into really meaningful ways. Now, when a while back, we didn't have sections, did we, Jam? We didn't allow, well, not that we didn't allow, we didn't think of putting sections because it was just like, here's your collections, these are the collections that you've made public. But then as people's collections started to grow in volume, it's like we need another layer of organization here. And I want my profile to be able to get people easy access to the content that they're looking for. And most importantly, again, organize it in a really stunning way. So anybody who has a lot of collections that are public, if they're on your profile, look into organizing them using sections because it makes it way, way fancier looking and it makes it more beautiful as well. Because right now, when I go on Phil's profile, he's got his list of subjects here that he's created collections on. And when I click on one of them, I'll be taken straight to that section and I can view all of those collections. So rather than just having a long list of collections, which I'm sure a lot of profiles are currently, I'm going to show you very quickly how to add sections as well. So very simply, let's say I'm in my Wakelet home area here. I just click on this little button here, which takes me to my profile. I then click Edit Profile here. And when I'm in this kind of state here, I can change the header image. I can change information like this. But here on the left, you'll see Add a New Section. So I can click this and I can call this anything. So I'll call this like Week 1. I then add section. The section appears here, and very easily, I can just go over a collection, click this button, and then it moves over to Week 1, which is really cool. And I can do that I can have as many sections as I want, and I can move any collection to any section. So yeah, I definitely recommend people take advantage of that because it's a really cool way of having your, basically neatening up your profile and making it easier to kind of comprehend for people.
Yeah, so Misbah, just a few questions I'm seeing. So everything that Misbah's showing you is free. It's not a premium feature. So you can use everything that on the site. You can create as many collections, add as many sections. It's all free to use. And someone was asking about basically teachers being able to moderate posts if they're in group situations. We've announced that at Wakelet Live. So we're going to be bringing in moderation to Wakelet. So thank you for kind of sharing these features and feedback. And look forward to kind of putting it out there.
We've also got one question as well, Jam, which I think is really good. And since we've got a pretty large audience, it'd be awesome to answer. What's the meaning of the word Wakelet?
Okay, Misbah, do you want to go to a screen with an airplane wake?
Of course.
I don't know if I should tell everyone what it means because they'll never ever forget it now.
I know, right? I know. Hold on,
Okay,
let me just move some of the zooms.
Yeah, just type in airplane wake.
There you
and
go.
Let's grab
Yeah.
a wake so everyone can see one.
Yeah.
Grab one with some lines in it somewhere, or
There we go. Could be better than that. This one's cool.
type in plane wake, Misbah. It's easier. It's quite nice.
You've been here before, John.
Exactly.
There we go. Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so these are called wakes, if you like. So basically a trail behind an aircraft. And if the boat's on the water, there's a trail behind the boat. It's called a wake again. And the idea of Wakelet was that when you go to the internet and you collect different articles, videos, blogs, tweets, any content and create a story or a trail, you're creating a wake. So that's where the name came from. And the idea where we called it LUT was basically when the tablets first came out, they were very visual, they're very beautiful to look at. All the content was kind of the new generation of user interface. So that's the idea of Wakelet. It was supposed to be
and look, just sound
visual.
The lit just sounds cute as well, doesn't it? And
yeah,
you can
and maybe
see
it's something. And maybe it's something to do with when I was working at Airbus as well. If you look at the wingtips of the aircraft, they were called winglets, and now the new ones on the smaller aircraft are called sharklets. So I always thought,
I didn't know that.
It makes sense. I mean, you've got winglets, sharklets, and wakelet.
And you'll also notice as well in the Wakelet logo that there is a wake running through it, just like that. So that's pretty cool.
Now the only problem is now we've told you this, you're going to get sick of it every time you look up in the air. Well, not sick of it, maybe in a good way.
That's good for us. Awesome. So yeah, we get that question asked quite a lot, and I personally love the origin story behind the name Wakelet. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's take a look. So this one I'm going to go through really quickly because it's just a really cool concept, which is kind of just recaps of events. Okay, so if anybody's a gamer, if you're not a gamer, I'm sure you'll have kids who are gamers. And the release of the PlayStation 5 was announced, I think it was a couple of weeks back or something, and kind of everyone's gone crazy about it. Everybody loves it, but it's actually really difficult to find like the real timeline of the release and the games which are being released online. If you type something to Google, it's quite difficult. You try and find it on Twitter, it's just loads of noise. So I really love this. Sean's put together this really simple collection, which is just a recap of the PlayStation 5 event. So he's got all of the announcements of the games, all the trailers are right here in one place. If there's any event that you have that you want to make a quick kind of recap about, whether it's a school event or whether it's an event outside of school, or whether it's just something that you're super passionate about, Wakelet's awesome for that. Okay, what's up next now? Oh yes, this is awesome. So we're partnered with Merge, and the collections that Merge put together have been amazing, and I've loved them because of GIFs. So you can add GIFs to your cover image to make your collections look really engaging. And we all know that students love GIFs. And it's not just your cover images as well. You can actually add GIFs just as an image, which is amazing. So adding GIFs is the same as adding any picture on Wakelet, basically. You know, you just download the GIF to your desktop, and then when you're prompted to upload a picture to your cover photo or even your background photo, you can do that really quickly. I think if I go to my profile, I was having a play around with it. I hope it's still there. Let me just take a look. wakelet.com/@Misbah. Let me just see, because I was playing around with my cover image and I think it might, yeah, so check that out. So you can even do that with your cover image. I was having a play around with these things called cinemagraphs, just to kind of, I don't know, when people land on my page, I want them to be like, whoa, like what's happened there? So if you want to add a little bit of punch and a little bit of impact, choose GIFs. It's a really, really cool way to just engage your students. So you can take a look at this collection here. It's made it, I don't know, for me, maybe I've got an immature mind, I'm not sure, but I look at this collection because I see moving images, I'm like locked in straight away. So yeah, feel free to upload GIFs to Wakelet. It's a really cool way of making your collections a little bit more vibrant and engaging. And if you go to Merge's account, you'll find on their profile, they've got a whole bunch of GIFs. I think it's their weapon of choice for sure. You can see it all here. They run really smoothly. So yeah, feel free to do that if you want your profile or your collections or your images to stand out a little bit. Okay, so next up, we've got this. Now, I stumbled across this a little while ago, and I really loved it just because it really puts into context what Wakelet can do in terms of taking an experience that would usually be offline and then bringing it online, okay? So there's a museum called the Ashmolean Museum. Where is it, Jamil? Is it Oxford, right? Oxford University. Yeah, so Oxford University's museum, they've got this, and they put together this amazing collection about Raphael. So they have an exhibition about Raphael. You'd have to go there to visit it. This is quite a big collection. As you can see, there's over 600 items in it. And when you scroll down, you're in an art gallery. you know, you get to see some really awesome stencils and pictures and things that Raphael put together, and you get to enjoy that experience, you know, whilst you're sat down on your computer. Now, sure, it might not really live up to the same thing as going there, but if you're looking at engaging your students with virtual field trips, for example, Wakelet becomes really powerful because it unlocks their imagination a little bit, and they can go into a lot of detail. So what I like about this is that the pictures have gone into really, really fine detail. And added on top of that, you've also got these as well, these text blocks that add, once again, they add context to the image. Are there any other questions, Jan, before we jump on, or shall I move on to the next?
There's a few questions.
Sure.
Questions. Have you got time to take them now?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've got around 3 or 4 more examples. So yeah, sure, we can take some questions.
Yeah, so people were asking, how do we add GIFs at the moment? So you can upload GIFs basically from your computer. So save the GIF onto your desktop and then just upload it as if you're uploading an image. Now, we are going to create integrations, so you'll be able to add GIFs straight from Wakelet as well. So just watch out for those, and we'll announce that when we're going to get that done. There's a few more people talking about sections as well. So the ability to have sections in collections, of course. I mean, people have been asking for this. We've got a few new layouts we're going to bring out in the near future. And one of the things that we'll do when we bring the layouts is also having the ability to have sections in collections. So with spaces, there's going to be a whole new level of organization coming to Wakelet. So once you've had access to spaces and you've had access to these kind of new layouts, then you can let us know if you need any more levels of organization, and we'll consider also looking at that also. Spaces is being phased out. That was one of the questions. So we've already started to bring in bits of it. So for example, the real-time stuff, the auto-save stuff, that's all gone out as part of Spaces, and Spaces at the moment is in testing. So very soon we'll make that available for the community to test. Give us some feedback before we finally put that out, but it won't be too long now. We'll keep you updated online. Let me see if anything else. Yeah, so people are asking about styles and colors of text. Again, in text formatting, we're going to look at a whole host of stuff there. It's just there's a lot of stuff that people are asking for, and we want to do it all. All the things that you're saying are amazing, they're great, and they're in line with where we want to go with the platform. It's just we're trying to prioritize stuff at the moment and get stuff out as fast as we can. So just have a little bit of patience with us. We are going to do them. We want them as well. And thanks for keeping, these requests and ideas coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's your ideas, I guess, that help us, put together these cool features that we've seen. So yeah, like Jan says, keep the requests coming, and we will get around to them. But as you can imagine, there's a lot to do, isn't it, Jan?
Yeah, I think just another point, we've had a number of people who sometimes have deleted collections or things by accident. So if you've deleted something by accident, you can always email us on support, and we'll see if we can kind of undo that and retrieve that for you. We are going to make that a feature in the future. So if you've done that by accident, you can quickly undo the change, and it'll be stored there for a period of time before it gets deleted. So for example, if you delete a collection, it might go into a deleted area, and it might sit there for 10 days before it finally gets deleted. So if you didn't want to do it, you can undo that.
Awesome. So very quickly, at the beginning, I was talking about how with Wakelet, it's not always about the features, it's about how you use it. And a lot of teachers are using Wakelet with their students in their classrooms to boost creativity, right? So like on the Student Ambassador Program, we have the Designer Flag Challenge. It's all about challenging students to become a little bit more creative. There's this collection that Mike did, which is phenomenal, really, really cool. It doesn't take advantage of a feature necessarily, but I love it. What Mike did was he took these quotes from the Dalai Lama, and because he's a graphic designer, he created visualizations of these quotes, which was really cool. So, for example, this one, our very existence is very much based on hope. That's a quote back from the Dalai Lama, and he's interpreted it as this graphic. Really, really cool way to basically unlock that creativity. So you can challenge your students and say, I would like you to take the tool of your choice, whether it's Buncee or whatever it might be, and create something under these guidelines, and then also contextualize them. So the beautiful thing is they don't only get to share their work with you and share the images that they've created or the videos that they've made, but they get to add that text and contextualize what it is that they're doing, which I absolutely love. Now, I don't know if anybody knows about Flat Stanley, but Flat Stanley is very popular character at Wakelet. We love the concept of it. Those of you who don't know, and forgive me if I've got this wrong, because I know there are a lot of different variations of Flat Stanley, but it's just a character. It's a little boy, and schools print him off using their school printers, and around the world, kids go to local landmarks or wherever it might be, take pictures, and then just share it on Twitter using the hashtag Flat Stanley, or share it with their e-twinning twins, or with their other communities that they're doing this project with. And this is a really cool way. As Sean said, what better way to kind of show off all the places that Flat Stanley has been than on a mood board in a Wakelet collection, right? This is amazing to look at because you can just imagine the kids going around, taking pictures of Flat Stanley, doing the stuff that they're doing, and then this is an amazing way to actually showcase it all together in one place. So yeah, I absolutely love that. Moving on now, one of the cool things, and very few, well, not very few, but not enough people know about this, I think, you can embed any Wakelet collection. Okay, so you can take a Wakelet collection and you can embed it onto your blog, onto your school website, onto your Google site. Anywhere that you can embed something, you can embed, and also in some cases with LMSs as well. So I know Canva, Schoology, you can actually embed Wakelet collections directly into your LMS. Really easy way to do this. Go to your Wakelet collection as though you're viewing it. You don't need to press edit or anything. And it's not only your Wakelet collection, it's others as well. Click the share button and then click embed. When you click embed, we give you a whole bunch of different features that you can use to customize the way that your embed looks. And then you can just copy the embed code directly into your blog, your website, or wherever it might be. And the options that we've got are really cool. So you can choose the layout of your embed. You can have it like a grid view. You can have it as a footer at the bottom of the page, like this, for example. You can have change it around with the cover image. You can add a border. You can set a fixed height. You can also do a light or a dark mode as well, depending on the theme of your website. And once you do that, you can then embed it into a collection, embed it into a website. So if you take a look at the World Health Organization, for example, they've been using Wakelet for quite some time during this pandemic now, because it's a really quick, snappy way to take the best news that they've found, that they've sourced, and then put it all into one place. So they have this area of the site that they share with their community. And when people go here, they expect to see that news. And what's here? Well, it's an embedded Wakelet collection. You can see here, powered by Wakelet. And they've just been able to take all of that information, again, put it all into one place, but most importantly, put it on their website, because they don't need to direct people to wakelet.com when they've got a website that's functioning. They want the traffic there, so they just add the embed into their site, and it works exactly like a Wakelet collection. It's beautiful.
And I think in Misbah, the key thing is that they've handpicked the content, they've put it in a structure, they've put it in an order and created some meaning to it. And that's the cool thing about Wakelet and why we've left it super flexible for people to do that. And that's why we don't want to try to guess what you want. We want to give you the ability to do what you want, to customize it however you want to. So it's as flexible for whatever you're trying to do with it.
Exactly. And we've also, using the embed features as well, we've also got universities and schools and things who are embedding like graduation ceremonies and social recaps within their Wakelet page. Now, the really cool thing is this: if you're an educator and you're part of a school system, sometimes it's very difficult for you personally to update the Wakelet page, the school website, right? So you have a school website, and I know this because I was speaking with an educator this past week. Sometimes it's difficult to put in a request if you need something changing on the school website, because you have to speak to the tech team, it has to get signed off, it has to get done. The cool thing about having a Wakelet page for your school is that any teacher can change things and add things, and even if you've got something embedded in your school website, again, the same thing happens. Because it's on Wakelet, you could have a teacher who's on a field trip and they just have to pull out their phone and take pictures and snapshots and things, and that just uploads directly to the school site. So yeah, make use of the embed if you have got a blog and that type of thing. I think that's it, Jam. I mean, honestly, if we were to talk about all the ideas, we'd be here till like, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something.
I think maybe we can look at a few more questions. There's a few questions, Misbah, around basically the ability to create collections with colleagues who are not registered to Wakelet. So how would that work? Do you want to just maybe give a little bit of an outline on that, and then we can discuss how basically that will change with Spaces as well?
Yeah, 100%. So what I'll do is I'll show how to click a collaboration collection and then pass on to you to talk about how that's going to be
Yeah, sure,
supercharged with
sure.
spaces. Awesome.
And yeah,
Okay.
the video is getting recorded, so you'll be able to see this later on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The video is being recorded, and not only that, but you'll also be getting your certificate as well, and all of the resources that I've shared today. So all the examples, they're going to be sent to your email, so don't even worry about it. Okay. So we were talking before about collaborating, right? How easy it is to collaborate. So I'm going to show you now. I'm going to go to my home area because I'm logged in at Wakelet at home, and you know what? I'll show you how I share these collections with the Wakelet team so that they could collaborate. So I'll create a collection. Okay. So let's say this is a collection, I've created it. And up here, I'm gonna have to move all this Zoom stuff out of the way. I click the invite button on the top left. Now the collection has to be private or unlisted if you want other people to see it, but this can work with any collection. I made them unlisted just because actually no, they're public now because they're on the page, but initially I made them unlisted just so that whilst people were all working on them, nobody could see them except the people that were working on them. So you click the invite button up there, and then this screen will pop up, and this is it. If, let's say, for example, you have this screen in front of your class and they're using devices, they can just scan that barcode there, that QR code, and they're plugged into the Wakelet collection. Alternatively, you can share this link with them, or you can click copy code. Now I'm going to show you what happens. I'm going to go to incognito window. That's going to sign me out of all of my Wakelet accounts, and I'm going to go to wakelet.com. And rather than clicking login or sign up or register, I do not need an account. I just click enter code. I paste the code in there, click join, and then I'll be prompted to give myself a nickname or my real name, depending on what you tell your students or whoever it might be. So I'm just going to put Misbah. I'm going to click add. Now I'm plugged into this Wakelet collection and I can edit it, I can contribute to it, and I don't need to be logged in. Now, the cool thing is, don't worry, because I know what you're thinking, oh, my students are going to go and delete everyone else's work. You can only change the things that you've added to this collection. You can't change anybody else's. I can't change the cover image, the background image, and that type of thing. I can't change the layout. But what I can do is click the plus button, and I've got that wide range of things that I can add to Wakelet as well. So if I click here, and let's say I'm going to type in Dubai. Let's have a look at Dubai travel, just because that's what we were talking about. It's the first thing I could think of. And I click this here. I just copy this address, right? The same way that I do with any Wakelet piece of content, paste it in, and then that will add over there, okay? Once that's added, I just very simply click done, and I can add multiple pieces of content as well. And then that's it. Now look, when I go back to this collection, by the way, this all happens in real time as well, okay? So when you imagine you've got like 30 students or whoever, all working on the same project during class, it's in real time. You can see the changes that they're making, which is incredible. You can give them instant feedback. You can shout and be like, hey, no, don't do that. You can see things working very quickly. So if I go back to this original collection and hit refresh, you'll be able to see that Misbah has added this item right over there. So as you see, didn't need an account, didn't need to sign up, simple as that. And Jam, we're going to be like really supercharging this with spaces, right?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to go back to Phil's profile so we can just kind of give the context on here? Okay, so basically Phil has got a lot more than what's visible here. So just under his basically description, you can see 2 little W's. So actually Phil's created 3 Wakelet accounts because he wants more spaces, if you like, to organize all his content. So if you create on one of these, Misbah.
So I'll click on the food waste one.
Yeah. So the idea of spaces came along from lots of different reasons. So it was the idea that people wanted to separate their collections out, not just into sections, but into topical areas on a whole page. So this is an idea of what basically a topical area on a whole page is. It's got the context is food waste, you've got sections about food waste, and then you've got your collections, and your collections have got your links inside them. Now, we already allowed people to add collections inside collections, so basically sub-collections. So that gives you that level of organization deeper. Now with spaces, you'll be able to add people to each space. So for example, the food waste, I'm going to be able to add, instead of students to a collection, I can add them to the entire space, and they can all collaborate with me in this space. Now, the teacher should be able to have at some stage moderation rights. If she wants to switch moderation on, then she can decide, or he can decide before things are visible. On top of it, there'll be reactions and comments, so people can collaborate and talk around things with each other. And also a neat little thing, people don't need a Wakelet account to be involved in spaces. So there was a question before on people under the age of 13. Well, they don't need a Wakelet account, and if the teacher is managing the account, it's private, and they've invited people via a code, then it's a safe space for people to do what they're going to do. Now, on the topic of just 13s and under, we are doing a few things behind the scenes at the moment, and we'll be looking forward to kind of announce these that will make that even more easier, more useful on Wakelet. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah, spaces is a big one. I'm going to stop sharing now, but I remember on Wakelet Live when you mentioned spaces, and it was just like everyone got super excited about it.
Misbah, just asking, is there a limit to how many people can collaborate?
No limits. No. You'll find with Wakelet that there are very few limits. Okay, so there are no limits to the amount of collections that you can create. There are no limits to the amount of items that you can add. There are no limits to the amount of people who can collaborate. What I would recommend though is be realistic. So there are some cases where like you want to crowdsource ideas, right? And in that case, you can even put like a collaborative link online on Twitter and have people share well wishes or thoughts or resources. Really good for events, that one. But if you're talking about like a class of 30, it's very, very manageable because you know, you've only got 30 things to worry about. And I would say keep it reasonable depending on what context, but there is no limit to the amount of people that you can add. Let's go and see what a few. Okay, so Sherry asks, still confused about what Spaces actually is, the purpose of it versus other features in Wakelet. So basically, like Jam said, Sherry, Spaces allows you to have your Wakelet account and then multiple spaces underneath that. So imagine that you're a teacher, you can create a space, so like a whole new Wakelet profile for each one of your classes or each subject that you're teaching. And then in that space, you can invite people to collaborate and create collections, contribute to collections, and that type of thing. So just imagine it as you can have a space for everything. You've got one Wakelet account, one email address. You can create multiple pages across anything that you want. Robin asks, where do we do our announcements? Twitter. Yeah, Robin, we mostly announce things on Twitter because we've got an incredible community there. Follow us on Twitter at Wakelet, but also the Wakelet community as well. So community.wakelet.com. Head there, and it's just a really good place to get involved, join the community, see things before they come out, have a real say in the direction of the platform, and also get your hands on some swag as well. I think that's all we've got time for, Jam. It's a shame because there's so many incredible questions coming in. I'm still on all the way up, so I need to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, I think if there's any more questions that people want to kind of send to us, feel free to just direct message us on Twitter, and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. We're normally
exactly,
very
yeah.
responsive, so
I'm gonna add mine and Jam's Twitter handles so that you can follow us on Twitter. One moment. It's J4Jammy, right, Jam?
Yes.
There we go, J4Jammy.
Just
so yeah,
message us if you've got any questions or any feedback or anything.
Exactly. Okay, so I mean that's one of my favorite webinars like ever. I found that really, really cool. I hope that we inspired you a little bit and showed you some features that you may not have necessarily known about and how to use them. And like I've been saying in the past few weeks, the best thing for you to do is start small and have fun, right? Start using Wakelet for things like recipes and fitness programs and just copying bookmarks and things that you want. And then gradually, as you become part of the community, as you learn all these fantastic things, you can start taking it to the next level when it comes to your students and your classrooms and your learning environment. So any final words from you, Jam, before we shut this down?
No, just thank you so much. All your feedback, all your support is keeping us on our toes and it's keeping us busy. So keep doing it and we'll keep improving for you. And enjoy it. I mean, there's so many cool things you can do with the platform. It's just a little bit of creativity and it sparks new ideas. So thank you so much. And thanks for joining as well.
Thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate it. So remember, certificates will be sent to your email address along with all the resources that we shared today. And keep a lookout for all of the recurring webinars that we've got on and the community webinars that we've got on as well coming in the next month. But that's all from us. Jam, you can just click off and click leave meeting, and we'll leave this running for the next, I'd say, 2 or 3 minutes just so you can catch up with the chat. But thank you all so much. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.